Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished. Manchester United won. Athletic Bilbao won. United getting a goal late on in stoppage time through Facundo Pellistri, and that allowed them to get a draw. But really, the story, the match, as it says in the headline, it's really about the errors because, like I said, the results don't matter in preseason. It's about the performances. It's about fitness. And the performance in this game, I think, has had a consistent theme with what we have seen in preseason. It was the same thing all over again. Very few chances created, especially until it was 11v11. There were no, well, almost zero, clear-cut chances being created. On the other side, they make sloppy defensive mistakes and they get punished for that. So before I get into the reactions to the match, so I do want to point out the MUTV commentators. I mean, what kind of stuff do they talk about? It's like, they were talking about Athletic Bilbao. It's like, they should maybe change the policy so that they can become a better team. Like, I mean, that's the policy. There's a reason. There's a history. There's a history to why Bilbao only pick players from the Basque region. There's a whole history to it. You got to do your research. If you want to talk about something, go do your research and talk about it. And then you'll understand why they do what they do. But it's almost like they were trying to say, well, if you want to be a big club, everybody's got to, change their policies and not be, so reliant on normal players. I mean, it was just, it's the same as when they were talking about Joselu during the Real Madrid game, as being condescending, like as if he's done nothing because he's failed in the Premier League. It's just there's so much Anglo-centric bias sometimes in the commentators. It's just weird to watch. Anyway, I'm glad that I will probably not have to listen to MUTV commentary again for the rest of the season, hopefully. Anyway, so coming to the game itself, United started off quite well. I think they started in the front foot. I like the dynamic between Sancho, Forson, and Pellistri. I thought Forson had his best game in pre-seasons, right now. In this one, I think he's generally been unremarkable, but today he looked quite good. Still, no, I don't think he's at the level, this doesn't mean that he should start games or he should be getting game time. I think he needs to go on loan. I'm clearly Ten Hag sees something in him, but it needs regular, consistent game time. And I think he needs to go on loan to a championship club or maybe even League One, just try to see what level he's at and whether he's ready for that sort of step up, because at the moment he's not anywhere close to being a regular for Manchester United. And I don't think he will be for a while. So yeah, for him alone would be ideal. But then, after that first little bit of time, Bilbao started getting into the game. They realized that, once what the patterns of play were, that Sancho was trying to drift right, left. He was the one. Once they kind of tracked his movements, they started to get more forward, started to get more joy. And then they realized that what everybody knows is that if you trigger Maguire is a trigger for everybody's press. When Maguire has the ball, press him. He's not going to be able to handle it. And they started doing that, and United started with deeper and deeper and deeper, because Maguire doesn't want to be exposed, so he moves deeper and deeper, and that started creating more opportunities for Bilbao. The goal though came from a sloppy error. I mean, how many times have we said this in preseason? The sloppy error leads to a goal. Again, Maguire, overconfident, casual, gives the ball away. It's a poor pass. And this was not the first one actually. Before that, there was a cross into the box, and he just kind of flicked it lazily with his back heel. I sometimes feel that Maguire, he obviously has a very high opinion of his own footballing ability, probably too high of an opinion. And I think sometimes he does these little things because he wants to show people that, look, I am that good, as good as I say I am. And he does that. No, it's almost like he's trying to prove a point. And in that, he proves what the point that he actually proves is that he proves everybody else right, by doing all this stupid thing. Because again, that flick was lazy. This one was casual as well. There's no need to make a pass like that he's trying to make. But I think he's actually kind of, if I may be mistaken here, but looking at it first time in the replay, I thought he had actually kind of turned his eyes up. It was almost like he was trying to act like, oh yeah, look, I'm just going to do a casual flick, like I'm going to be a technical player. That's just, it's just not what you want to expect from a player of Manchester United caliber. But that's Maguire, and the ball falls to Sancet. He puts a wonderful pass to Nico Williams. Got to praise that. It was a very good pass, and Williams gets it in, even though Heaton tried his best. It's 1-0, and it was set for a frustrating afternoon. You thought, and I didn't think United would score in that game. I actually had the thing down to 1-0, and I was ready to go. But then Bilbao went down to 10 men. Was that a red card? Yes, it would have been a red card in a regular game. Should it be a red card in the preseason? I think probably, I think we're at the point now the season where I think you've got to start looking at it also objectively and saying, right, if it's a red, give it a red, right? Because you don't want to let too much go as well. Even though it's preseason, you don't want to let too much go, and the referee had let quite a bit go. So, fair enough that he gave a red card. It allowed United to come forward. I was actually hoping that it would stay 1-0, not because I wanted United to lose, but sometimes when you win from that position, or when you draw, it sometimes can skew perspectives. I mean, imagine if Maguire had scored one of the headers that came his way, then everybody were talking, oh, what a good player. Or imagine if Evans had scored, people would be asking for him to get a new contract or things like that. You don't want perspectives to be skewed, and sometimes results the final score can skew perspectives about the performances, particularly in preseason. I didn't want that to happen, so I was okay with the fact that they scored very late on. But it was a good goal that was taken by Pellistri. It was a good finish, particularly at the end, and the way that the pressing was there, he made it 1-0. It was a good finish. Yeah, you could say on the balance of play, probably United deserved to draw it, but at the same time, I think there was very few clear chances that they created while it was 11v11. So at the same time, I think Bilbao did really well to limit it. And like I said, it feeds into the narrative we've been saying that the United are looking very, very ordinary and average in attack, and they look very, very sloppy in defense, and that is going to be a key problem. If you're scoring 3-4 goals a game, then it doesn't matter if you make the odd error. But if you don't score any goals, if you're struggling to score goals, and your defense is constantly making sloppy errors, that is going to come back to bite United in the behind. And I think it will come back to bite them when the season starts. But I'll save that for my preview. In terms of performances, Pellistri looked very impressive. But what I will say about Pellistri is that I could see why Ten Hag starts Antony over Pellistri, because up until that goal, my thing about that, my take from that game was Pellistri is very bright, he's very energetic, he's very quick, he's got too good, he can actually go left and right, he's got 2 good feet. He looks very, very exciting, but his end product at the end of the day is not that higher than Antony. Antony's got a goal and assist in last game as well. People forget that. Antony is more frustrating, and he's probably a little bit more, he's a bit more of an X factor sort of player, in that you don't know what he's going to do. He could do something really bad, he could do something really good. With Pellistri, you kind of know what you're going to get, but the end products are not that dissimilar. And therefore, but what Antony has is work rate. His work rate is phenomenal. Pellistri's work rate is not that great at the moment. And so therefore, Ten Hag sees that and goes, well, they both give me the same in terms of offensive output, but I'm getting a little bit more defensively from Antony. So of course, I'm going to stick with Antony. So I can see why he starts. For Pellistri, he gets into good positions, he makes really good runs, he's very dynamic, he's very direct, but he needs to add more to his game, a little bit more end product, assists, goals, key passes. He needs to add that to his game for him to be able to then challenge Antony and take over that spot. Because at the moment, I can see why Ten Hag doesn't start him. Donny van de Beek for me looked a little bit, it was okay. It was a 6 out of 10 performance. He wasn't bad, he wasn't great. And he was taken after halftime, I think, in a clear message that you're not part of my plans. I started you because I wanted you to put yourself in the shop window, but he didn't play the second half. So it was very interesting for me. Eriksen showed why he is a Ten Hag favorite, because he plays very good balls. His passing is much better than Mount. What he doesn't offer is a physicality. In a game like this, against a team that's okay to park the bus and counter, I think Eriksen works. Against teams that are going to be more physical, that are going to be, more toe-to-toe, I don't think he works. And therefore, you can see that. But his passing was excellent today. Some of the passes he played was just brilliant. It's too bad you can't get a Mount and an Eriksen combination, because that would be the ideal thing to have for Manchester United. They have Mount, they have an Eriksen, they don't have a combination of the two to play that role. But he was good as well. I was impressed with Dan Gore. And another player, Dan Gore, that I think he needs to go on loan, because he looks good in the defensive side of things. He looks very good, but he's not someone who can make those forward passes like Casemiro can. And his passing needs a bit of work. So again, maybe he needs to go on loan to the Championship, try and figure out his level as well, get some good passing, get some good minutes in for him to be able to expand this game. I don't think playing in the B team is going to, or the under-21s is going to work for him. If he wants to be a starter, I think he needs to go on loan as well. So we'll see what happens. There's been no talk of that. But I was impressed with this game. I liked his game. I'm not going too harsh on him. I liked his game. There's things to improve. As he's young, he's a young player. He still needs to improve. But overall, okay. And Sancho, a lot of people said he was bright, he was effective. I thought he looked good. The problem with Sancho is he was playing with 2 wingers who are not really goal-scoring wingers. So if you're going to play Sancho as a false 9, you need to play 2 wingers who are out-and-out goal-scoring wingers, so that he can drop deep and those 2 can take the space that he vacates. At the moment, because he had Pellistri and Forson, who are not really goal-scoring, who are not goal-scoring wingers, they're more creative wingers. He was dropping into space, but there was nobody pushing into that space that he was leaving, and so therefore it looked a little bit disjointed. But will he start against Wolves? Probably not. Will false 9 be his position? I struggle to see where else he could play, because he can't really play as a 10. He's not really a winger, so he's got to play as a false number 9. That's his position. But then of course they've got Rashford. Will he start? Can he start over Rashford or Garnacho? No, he can't. When Højlund is fit and ready, which will probably not be until the end of the year, will Sancho get a look in after that? I don't know. So there's things to work out with Sancho. I think he's still a little bit sticks out like a sore thumb, but he played a good game. He had a good game today, and I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to say that he wasn't good. He was quite good. Just that I don't know if good is good enough anymore for Erik ten Hag. And the player I think I was most disappointed with, and it wasn't Harry Maguire. I'm not disappointed with Harry Maguire. I have no expectations from Harry Maguire. I think what we see is what we get. He's a player who should be out of the club, who should be banging on the door of Erik ten Hag and saying that I want to leave this club. I'm a starter for England. How can I not be a starter for Manchester United? I need to leave this club and I need to go somewhere where I can play regularly so I can be in the Euro squad. Instead, the guy just is happy to be fourth choice. He's happy to just stay. He says he wants to fight for his place. There's no fighting for his place. He knows he's no longer, he's not, that's just buzzword for saying, I don't want to leave because I have a big contract and nobody's going to pay me the money that you pay me. That's code word for that. Because there's no fighting for his place. He doesn't have a place in the squad to fight for. So, I'm not disappointed because I just don't have any expectations from him. But I was disappointed with Alvaro Fernandez. And the reason why I say disappointed, again, he's young. I'm not going to say that he should have been world class, but he just doesn't, he's not, at the moment, he's okay defensively. He's okay. But going forward, I think he's still not at the level of a Malacia, let alone a level of a Shaw. So I think he needs to go out on loan as well. He needs to, he did well at Preston. Maybe he needs to go on loan in the Premier League. Maybe Luton might be interested in taking him in. Maybe another club might be interested. But he needs to go somewhere where he can play regularly, just so people can figure out what his real level is. Because at the moment, there's a lot of speculation about what his level is, whereas we don't really know how good he is, because when he plays, he doesn't look that good. And yet I'm sure that in the under-21s and the championship level, he looked good. So I think he needs a loan where he can go and play regularly. I don't think playing a game here and there for Manchester United is going to be good for his development at this point. He needs to go on loan where he can play consistently, because I don't think he's ready to be a starter for Manchester United. And if you ask me, I don't think he's ready to push Malacia either for that second left back spot. And you don't want to have a third left back. At his age, he shouldn't be third left back. He should be somewhere playing regularly for the lower table side. So that's why I feel. I like Bilbao, how they played in discipline 11v11. They look pretty good. They look pretty solid. Never looked threatened by Manchester United. Simon was very, very excellent. And they've got a big game coming up against Real Madrid. What will disappoint them is that goal that they scored, that they conceded towards the end. Yes, they were down to 10 men, but you feel like they could have held out on that. But the game today will give them a lot of confidence, because they're going to go up against Madrid, who are very similar to Manchester United in that they don't have a number 10. So they're probably going to play two wingers as strikers, and I don't know what they're going to do, but they're not going to play with an out-and-out number 9. So the fact that they could deal with a team that doesn't have an out-and-out number 9 in Manchester United will hold them at good stead. Now, Real Madrid will be much better than Manchester United. United didn't even play their best team, and Real Madrid's best team is better than Manchester United's best team. So Real Madrid are going to be much higher level, but at least in the way that they approach this game, I think that will give them confidence going into that game to try and get something. So we'll see what happens. But I was impressed with how they played as well. But anyway, it's a draw for Manchester United. As I said, performances are what's important, and there's a lot that needs working. Like I said, there's a lot that needs working on. Yes, it's the second team, but these 11 players will play at some point. Like at some point, you will have to rely on them across the season. You can't just brush it off and say it's not our best team. They're not going to play every week. No, but they might have to be relied upon in a critical game. And do you trust any of these players to be relied upon? That's the question that you want answered from this game. And the answer is not a lot of them will be relied upon, which is sad, because you want squad depth and you want players challenging for places, which I just feel like it's not happening at the moment. But anyway, share your thoughts, of course, on this game. Smash like on this video if you enjoyed it, and do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We always appreciate your support. We'll have a couple more videos coming up for you, so please subscribe so you can stay notified. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.